Good afternoon. My name is Tyler Martin, and today I'm going to be going over our grant proposal for IEEE, specifically a proposal for some new equipment for the IEEE Lounge. A little bit about myself. I'm an electrical engineering student specializing in embedded systems and programming, and a lot of what I'm talking to you about today I have a bit of personal experience about. Alright, so let's start with a summary of the issues and the problems that we've been having, and then we'll move on a little bit more to how we plan on fixing those problems. So to begin with, let me tell you a personal story. As a freshman in the electrical engineering department, we're all required to take a number of electrical engineering labs, and one of those labs we have to use some very old and dilapidated equipment. And as we're using this equipment, occasionally we'll find that things don't work. We'll find that one part or another is just missing from our equipment, which usually isn't such a big issue. However, on my very first day at engineering school, I went to my first lab and noticed that as I turned the power supply on to do one of my labs, a great deal of smoke began to come out of the machine. Now this created a problem not only because of the health hazards of smoke, but also because now I can't do my lab, even though I have a lab due at the end of the period, and there's not a whole lot I can do because there's more students than we have labs. So this is one of the issues that I'm going to be talking about, and this is something that we can discuss as to maybe why we would look at wanting to have some more equipment available in the IEEE Lounge and in the department in general. So one of the issues that's going on in the engineering department right now is that the engineering labs are being downsized. As my freshman year of college, we had 3 labs, and now we're down to just 1. And this creates a problem because while we've decreased the number of labs and the amount of lab equipment we have access to, we haven't decreased the number of students enrolling in the program. So as you may well imagine, this creates issues. Another issue is that we have old and dilapidated equipment in the labs, just as my previous story illustrated. Occasionally we'll have problems where things break or it just won't work in general, and that makes a very difficult problem of overcrowded labs even more complicated. And finally, the equipment in the IEEE club space, which is generally a space that we use to have additional access and better times for some of these equipment. Much of the equipment in the IEEE Lounge is no longer good, and a lot of the equipment is limited because we have almost no space, and we really can't have more than one person at a time working on a lab. So this creates all other problems as well. And then our final issue is the lack of interest in engineering labs. When you accumulate all the problems that I just discussed, you can very well imagine that there's probably going to be a good number of students that just don't want to have anything to do with the labs, which is unfortunate because labs are supposed to be fun and a hands-on experience. And in high school, it's one of the things you look forward to as an engineering student, coming in and being able to touch and feel and build and make, which is a lot of at the core of engineering. So I'm going to give you an analogy. It's kind of like driving to the supermarket in your car every single day. It's something you have to do, but you don't really look forward to doing it. But imagine you get to drive to the supermarket in a race car and go as fast as you want. It's a lot more fun because you've got better equipment, and it's a lot more exciting, and you look forward to doing it. Alright, so some of the goals that we hope to achieve by getting some more equipment is first to make the labs more accessible to students. So once upon a time, they used to be a lot more accessible, and we'd like to increase our opportunity to students to do that with this equipment. Our second goal is to increase IEEE membership by at least 20%. Now currently there's about 30 members in IEEE, and 20% would be just about 6 students. So considering that there's about 80 students that enroll every single semester in the program, this goal is definitely not unrealistic at all. So our approach. First, we want to increase awareness of IEEE, and that has its roots in the department as a whole by being able to discuss with students what the benefits of joining IEEE are. They may be a lot more interested. For example, we often bring in recruiters and other entities which are interested in offering jobs to students. So there's a very large networking aspect that's provided by IEEE. Our second approach is to offer technical tutorials with the new equipment. So being able to not only have this new equipment, but show students how to use it and how they can apply it to a lot of the work that they're doing, and get them familiarized with a lot of specialized equipment that they will almost for sure be using in the field when they graduate with their degree. And our third approach is STEM presentations in high school. And this goes back to generating more interest in students enrolling in engineering in general. In my school, when I was a student in high school, I had absolutely no support with going into a STEM field whatsoever, and I was one of the few students who was interested in doing so in my class. I think that if we were able to change this in high schools, we'd be able to open up the door to engineering to a lot more students. And just quickly, we'll go over some of the specific budget items that we'd like to put on our proposal. So power supplies, oscilloscopes, and function generators. These are all just used for basic circuitry and signal analysis, and are commonly found items on any electrical engineer's benchtop. Soldering station multimeters, desktop computers, again, the same sort of situation. As we did not pick out the most expensive items, we did pick some that would be suitable to the needs of the engineering students today, specifically something that could crunch the numbers that we're looking at having them crunch. And finally, a little bit more specialized equipment, a reflow oven, which allows you to solder small parts onto circuit boards, and a 3D printer, which is a very specialized item that is becoming increasingly popular in today's society and has large prospects for jobs in the future. So in conclusion, I'd just like to say that I think some money towards IEEE would be extremely beneficial, not only just to students in electrical engineering, but to STEM majors in general, being able to discuss and push the importance of STEM and familiarizing students with a lot of the equipment that's out there that's going to help them be better problem solvers and complete bigger tasks in the engineering field.